That's bad lip reading. If you think those are funny, the NFL does them a lot apparently, and we'll talk about it briefly in the news because that's the kind of news days we have. But yeah, bad lip reading. Check it out on WWE's YouTube channel. Then we got the theme song. Well, almost. This clip's about over. Any thoughts on SmackDown at all, guys? Did I miss some comments? If I did, I'm sorry. There's the theme song. I love that theme song. Again, anything you hear in the background is going to be Bragging Rights 2009. Thanks. It's my favorite one. Man robes. Good morning. Welcome to Marking Out in the Morning, coming to you live from Audacity Solutions Studios in Des Moines, Iowa. It is September 25, approximately 9:21 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm your host, the Audacity. If it is also 21 past the hour as you watch this, then you probably know you can watch live on Periscope. You can listen live on Blog Talk Radio every morning. And to get the links for those shows, all you have to do is follow us on Twitter at HEELZiggler_com. Check out our website, HEELZiggler.com, if you ever forget any of that. If you want to join in the conversation as part of the first and only live daily morning call-in pro wrestling news and rumors podcast, you have a couple options. As I said before, you can hop on the Periscope. It's usually right in front of my face, so if you say something, I'll know, and I can, whatever, you know. If it's worth talking about, I'll talk about it. If it's not, I'll probably make some sort of facial expression to let you know, at least I read it, but it's just not working right now. Thanks, man robes. And let's see, if you don't do the Periscope, you can always just tweet at me at HEELZiggler_com. And if you really want the easiest, old-fashionedest way, call in 657-383-1786. Real quick, we'll go over the SmackDown results, go over a few headlines, which are not much at all. We've got a couple of ROH things to talk about, the Madison Square Garden show a little bit, and WWE bad lip reading. It's kind of a slow day, as Fridays usually are. I think I'm going to start trying to do more, make Fridays about indie wrestling, since I don't do a lot of that during the week. I know a lot of indie wrestlers, and I'm sure there's enough going on that we can make Friday a little more about that. So, anyway, real quick, get ready to do SmackDown results. Alright, SmackDown opened up with Kane and Seth Rollins. Kane in the ring doing a promo. Seth Rollins came out. And eventually the main event was booked. Roman Reigns defeated Luke Harper in a one-on-one match as Dean and the Wyatts were banned from ringside. The New Day defeated Neville and the Lucha Dragons in six-man tag action. Cesaro finally got a win up against Bo Dallas. Paige interrupted a promo that Charlotte and Becky were doing that I didn't really listen to because I'm not into Charlotte going over how happy she is. I don't like it. So Paige came out, then Natalya came out. No real physical confrontation, but I'm sure a match at Hell in the Cell. Dolph Ziggler and Ryback teamed up and defeated Rusev and Kevin Owens, although Kevin Owens did leave in the middle of the match, so Rusev essentially was wrestling 2-on-1 when Ryback hit him with that move he does and got the pin. We had a Dudley promo about the New Day. We had Seth Rollins cutting a promo for his final match and about Kane. Dean Ambrose actually pinned Seth Rollins in the main event after Kane made his lights, go all red, which I guess scared or surprised or whatever it did to Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose rolled him up for a pin. Then Seth Rollins shoot out Kane, and that was the end of SmackDown. So, actually not too bad of a show. No real false finishes. The closest thing to a false finish would have been Kevin Owens leaving his tag match or Kane playing with the lights. And when you have a card that you get to see Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens, Dolph Ziggler, Rusev, Cesaro, The New Day, Neville. I mean, that's a good card. If all those people are wrestling, SmackDown should be a better show than Raw. There's less filler other than the Raw rebound, which Raw does just about as much on their own show because they're constantly re-showing you what they did that day, plus things from the week before or the month before. So, really, SmackDown should be the better show. It's got more wrestling. It's just WWE doesn't... Man, on 5-Point Preview Day, if you want that SmackDown 5-Point Preview, you have to dig through WWE to find it. It's not even on the front page on Thursday morning. It's like they don't want anyone to watch SmackDown. So, as we get into the headlines real quick, just to be done with talking about SmackDown, nothing but what seems like unsubstantiated but pretty reasonable rumors about changes that are coming to SmackDown. I read about it at 411mania.com. So however you feel about them as a reliable source. They did quote the Wrestling Observer, however. Basically the backstage feeling is that there'll be an interesting change to SmackDown when it moves to the USA. They're definitely getting a new look, which I don't know if that just means logo or ring and everything, but rumor has it SmackDown's going to get a significant change when it moves to USA, which you would have to hope that USA looks at it now and says, yeah, we don't want that. That's not working. Your ratings, look at that. So fix it. And my hope is that they just make it a show for the wrestling fans where you get Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Adrian Neville, The New Day, all those guys in the ring with matches that have, if not clean finishes, at least actual finishes instead of DQ and no contest. That's what we really want to see. We don't want to have to wait for pay-per-views for that stuff. So let SmackDown just be that. The guys who want to wrestle and put on really good matches and get over that way, who can't seem to get over in WWE's eyes as far as stories and stuff go, let them just get over based on pure skill on a show that emphasizes that. That's my brilliant solution to solving the SmackDown problem. Moving on, there's a update to the Madison Square Garden show as the Chris Jericho Kevin Owens match, which was previously a non-title match, is now a title match. So that's the major update to that, which I think makes it even more obvious that Kevin Owens is going to go over. But I don't want to have going to book it as Chris Jericho. It did seem like he was going heel the way he left Night of Champions. So maybe it'll be a heel versus heel match. I'd be okay with that. Maybe they'll turn it into a triple threat with Dean Ambrose, as I don't see him booked anything else yet. The rest of the matches include Seth Rollins versus John Cena for the U.S. title, the Dudley Boys versus the New Day for the tag titles, Brock Lesnar versus the Big Show, Randy Orton versus Sheamus again, Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev again, with Kane, Mark Henry, Stardust, and Team Bella to at least make appearances, if not more. So there's no mention of Ambrose, so maybe they throw him in there to put a face character in the IC title match. I don't see why not. Anyway, that's Madison Square Garden. That should actually be a really good show. We'll get to see Brock Lesnar for more than a couple minutes in a match that's not on a huge pay-per-view, so that's exciting. Exciting as I'll get. Man, the last WWE related story is barely news at all. It's not really news. It's just stuff to look at on the internet if you're bored. The video is titled "Hilariously Bad WWE Lip Dubs." There's an article at WWE.com. I read about it through Bleacher Report, that great news source. Basically, it's just a thing that had been done a lot with NFL. Bad lip reading is the thing, I guess, and it's relatively funny. That was the clip you heard at the beginning of the podcast, if you could hear the beginning of the podcast. So you can actually watch the video at YouTube on WWE's channel. Whatever, that's the kind of news day we have, my friends. ROH, more interesting perhaps than WWE's YouTube video, although let me look at the numbers here. Yep, it is official. More people have watched the hilariously bad WWE lip dubs video on YouTube than have more than double than watched Ring of Honor on television, which drew 168,000 total viewers, which almost doubled last week's 89,000 viewers. So, and a note as I'm reading at ProWrestling.net, the best number they've had since moving to out of prime time. They used to be at an earlier time slot. Now they're at 11 p.m. So this is the best they've had since then, and no doubt the All-Star Extravaganza, which was last Friday, had an influence on that number, one way or the other. And if you happen to be a big ROH guy and you know Ian Riccoboni, there's a nice little article about him at LehighValleyLive.com, LehighValleyLive.com. It's his high school. Talks about his story growing up and wanting to be a broadcast journalist and how that's coming true, and how he also covers the Philadelphia Phillies. I don't know who he is really, honestly. I read the article real quick. I assume he's someone you recognize if you watch ROH, but I don't know. So, yeah, that's honestly all we got for the day. There's no news that I could find. I checked this morning. Those were the most news-y things to talk about. That's all that it's Friday. So that's why I'm turning next Friday into Indie Emphasis Friday. Emphasis Friday? Yeah, something like that. Whatever. We'll figure it out. But it's going to be more indie wrestling since news is always so slow on Fridays, and I don't do enough, in my own opinion, to support local and or indie wrestling. So I'm going to talk to Brandon about maybe him giving an update that we can play here every week. Maybe talk to IPW champion again. Maybe have him come on more regularly to promote that organization and his own matches. Maybe some of the other wrestlers we've talked to before. So I'm going to play the outro tune. Thanks for joining me on this quick Friday morning. I apologize there wasn't more, but we'll be back on Monday with Sam Benjamin, unless he again gets booked for some huge movie deal in England or whatever it is he does when he gets busy and can't come on. He should be on Monday, and we'll look at what's coming up on Raw. And if anyone gets arrested over the weekend, we'll be here to talk about it. Don't forget to subscribe if you listen on iTunes. If you listen on Stitcher, subscribe there. If you listen on Blog Talk Radio, subscribe there. If you watch on YouTube, subscribe there. If you want to always watch on Periscope, then follow me there at HEELZiggler_com. Same on Twitter. If you know how Periscope works, that's obvious. HEELZiggler.com is the website. And we will be releasing this weekend, although I'm not sure that I've received the audio yet, the Spanish announce table. That's one thing I usually like to do on Fridays is do a teaser for Spanish Announce Table podcast. Tweet the Table that HEELZiggler.com sponsors, but I didn't get one this week, so that's that. We will come up with a way to make Friday worth it. For those of you who were loyal enough to come out and listen, for those of you who downloaded and put this in your ear, it's quick, so I hope that's a quality in and of itself that makes this worth it. I'm gonna play the closing, and then we will be done with you for the week. Look for Tweet the Table, hashtag Tweet the Table, rest of the best. Other than this, the best podcast on the internet, from an extension of the third best podcast on the internet, the Spanish Announce Table, which is kind of related to the fifth best podcast on the internet, All Wrestling Week in Review. Here's the closing stuff. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Periscope. Later. Thanks, YouTube. Later.